Good morning. I hope you had a good weekend. Bright Monday morning here. Well, actually, it's starting to get a little bit cloudy, but that's kind of nice because it's breaking up that heat. Kind of jumped into the middle of summer all of a sudden, didn't we? Hey, while I'm waiting for everybody to get on, watch us live in the morning. Don't forget to check out my book, website, my bookstore. Don't forget to check out my blog. Don't forget to sign up for my YouTube. You can just search my name on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to that my channel because I got good things to come. I really do. I promise. I really am, and I'm working on four different projects, and they're all four coming along slowly, but they're all coming along, and they're very different. So it's easy to work on. I'm really working on two of them, but I got four in the works. How's that? That's more like it. I'm actually got four in the works, but I'm really more diligently working on two of them. And that doesn't mean I'm getting a whole lot done every day, but I'm getting a little bit done every day, and something is always better than nothing. Unless it's a disease or something bad, right? Anyway, see how my mind goes? It just goes. And you know what? When my mind is goofy like this, I'll call it goofy because I get so much on my mind, and every day there's so many things, and actually I really had a hard time over the weekend, and maybe a little bit last week too, just really battling some depression a little bit. I'll call it that just because I don't have a better word for it. But just when you start when I start looking at all the things going on around me, it starts eating at me, right? And it takes me, maybe it doesn't take me as long. I like to think that it doesn't take me as long now to turn that around because used to I would just get under, right? And I would just worry about money, I'd worry about relationships, I'd worry about Kristen. I mean, those things are all still chief concerns, but I could so easily just get swallowed up by life. And I don't know, maybe you don't relate. If you don't really relate to that, uh, hang on, maybe I'll say something that'll help you in a little bit anyway. If everything's perfect for you, actually, if everything is perfect in your life, you've got all the money you need. All your relationships are just hunky dory, and everything's just going right for you. Wake up! You're asleep, you're dreaming, because there's always something going on. That's not always bad, right? Sometimes it means that you're doing good things because the enemy's gonna fight you if you're putting God's word out there. If you're not being attacked by the enemy, you're on his side, right? So cheer up when things come at you, when things try to oppress you, when things try to depress you, when things try to confuse you, when you got all these things coming at you. Cheer up. It means you're a threat, and the enemy wants to shut you up, right? And so if things are going rough for you, it's actually kind of a good sign that you're on the right track. Remember, we've talked about this before. When Moses left the children, Moses completely obeyed God. He went and got the children of Israel. They saw the mighty works of God, the mighty 10 plagues, all of this work. They saw the power of God in real life, right in front of them. And then he rescues them, and they go into the desert. They're headed to the promised land. Everything's hunky dory, and then they run right into the Red Sea. And to complicate that, Pharaoh's army just comes sneaking up behind them, maybe more like rushing up behind them. So here he is sandwiched between two problems, and they didn't indicate that he missed God. He actually obeyed God. At that point, he obeyed God fully. And yet he found himself literally in a pickle. The Red Sea in front of him, the Pharaoh's army coming behind him, and then all those whiny children of Israel. Right? They just whined all the way across. That's why it took them so long. They spent so much time whining. So when I wanted to spend time whining this weekend, so I can get to my point here, I decided to turn it around. Yes, we all have a list of all the things going on in our lives because there's a lot of things going on. There's so many things going on in our world. And if you're watching the news, please stop watching the news because that does not help you at all. You need to know some of the current events. I totally agree. But the news, there's actually been a couple of studies that shows if you watch the news, because it can be traumatic before you go to bed, you literally don't sleep as well, right? At least watch it a different time of day, right? Yes, we need to. I scroll a little bit to keep up with some of the most common things going on in the world. I don't want to be told, I don't want to shove my head in the sand and say, well, everything's just great over here, because it's not, right? But when we see all these things, and when things are coming at us, and we feel sandwiched between a Red Sea and a Pharaoh's army, and yet we know we followed God, how could God lead you to a place like that? Why would God take you there? Because he's going to deliver you, right? If he sent you there, it's not a sign that you missed him. Moses did not miss God. He obeyed God, and yet found himself in that situation. And he didn't say, "Oh no, now what am I going to do?" He just went, "Hey God," and God said, "Part that Red Sea and walk through it." Because he was the deliverer, right? God was the deliverer. And so, in the middle of, though he found himself sandwiched between situations, it was no indication that he missed God. It was no indication that he messed up. It was no indication that he got off somewhere. God led him there. Wow, that's kind of a scary thought. So, if you're in a pickle, look up and see where God's taken you, because they had to cross the Red Sea to get to the promised land. They had to cross that Red Sea to get to the place where God fed them with manna every morning from heaven. They had to cross that Red Sea to get where they needed to go, right? And to see even more miracles of God, the Ten Commandments and so many things. But it all started with Moses seeing a miracle, and that's really what I want to talk about today. I kind of took the long way around for me, even for me. Because yesterday, as I was opening my blinds, the sun was in the sky so high. It was right before the storm came through, as a matter of fact. Was that yesterday? I don't know. And it was just this ball of fire, and I just thought, man, the sunrise is so gorgeous this morning. I was thinking that. So I started thinking about the sun, and I thought, they say it's just a star. And I'm not arguing with that. I'm not a science professional, although I taught a little bit of middle school science here and there, a little bit of grade school science. But I wouldn't say I'm kind of a science nerd on the side, a casual science nerd. There you go. And so I know they said it's a star and it's going to burn up and go away. And I just looked at it and I went, I don't think God would do that, right? He's not going to put the earth here and set the sun in the sky to govern the seasons, and then it goes away one day and he goes, "Oops, oh, it ran out. Now what?" No, I don't think that's it's going to burn out. So that made me think about Moses and the burning bush. It says the Moses was distracted, if that's a decent word. Yay, I'm kin to Moses. He was distracted by this burning bush that wasn't being consumed by the fire. And he went over there, and that's where God spoke to him and said, "Go get my people out of Egypt." Right? That's where he gave him the initial call, that call of God. And I don't know anybody else has been called by God's called them and used a burning bush, right? But the bush wasn't consumed. And I thought, what if God made that star our sun? I'm not arguing if it's a star or not, right? So what if God made that star specifically on fire so it won't burn up? He could do it, right? It's not beyond God, right? It's not beyond him. He did it with the bush. He could do it with the sun. And so that started me thinking about nature. And when I start thinking about nature and how God set and creation and how God set everything in order in those 7 days, and it still remains right there. The trees we see, the plants we see, the clouds we see. There's no new water on the earth. That's a nasty. I love freaking my seventh graders out with that one. If you think about it, there's no new water on the earth. The earth doesn't make water. It just uses what's here. And it goes through the rocks and the ground and cleanses itself and comes back around, and we drink it again and we empty it out again, and then it gets cleansed, and it goes just the same water that's who knows where this water's been before, right? It's a gross thought, right? But it's not making new water. God set these systems in order. And so that made me think of Psalm 104, where it says the sun knows it's going down. The sun doesn't get halfway up and go, "Oh." Now we know the sun isn't the one moving too. We know now that the earth is the one spinning, right? But the earth isn't spinning halfway and then stops and goes, "Which way were we going? Were we going that way? Or were we going that way?" Is the sun coming up or is it going down? That would be a senior moment of epic proportions, right? What a senior moment that would be with the earth. Which way was I going? Because I do that. Was I fixing to, did I just eat or am I going to make lunch, right? Those senior moments. And so it says the sun doesn't forget where it goes down. What God set in order stays in order. And we can mess it up. We mess up some things. We've messed up our water supply. We're working on messing up our air supply. We're messing things up, but what God set in order still remains. It does. None of it stopped, right? And so then I thought of even Psalm 19. It says this. It says, it's talking about this. It says, "The heavens declare the glory of God." Now I've shifted my focus, in case you didn't notice, from all these things going on in my world to all the things that God made go on in creation, right? The heavens declare the glory of God. Now my thoughts have shifted to the glory of God. When I saw that sun in the morning yesterday, I was a little bit down. Not anything big, y'all, just life stuff, right? And I saw that sun and I started thinking about, wow, I wonder if God's doing the same thing to the sun that he did to the burning bush with Moses. It totally shifted my thought processes. I forgot what I was thinking about and I shifted to how, wow, God is so cool. God is so awesome. God is so creative. And it shifted my emotions out of that funk I was in over to God, the possibilities of God rather than the impossibilities of my life right now, right? And so I'm like, the heavens declared for me. I lived the scripture yesterday morning, right? Yesterday, oops, yesterday, the heavens declared the glory of God in my life. And all I did was look at the sun for just a couple, not directly at it, I did not hurt myself, but just for a couple of seconds, looked at the sun and went, wow. Wow. And the heavens declared the glory of God in my heart. Y'all, we've made this all so complicated. And it's really so simple. It's really so simple if we, especially when we let him infiltrate our thoughts, our hearts, our minds, when we read his word and let it get in us. The heavens declare the glory of God, and his firmament shows his handiwork. The earth, the wildflowers that grow over in I do a reel ever so often of the flowers. They're cutting them down this morning, so there'll be some new ones coming up pretty soon. That made me sad when I went around to the trash bin this morning. But that it's the handiwork of God. They're so intricate. I look at the ones I've got planted on my patios, and I look at their intricate design, and they're also different. I've got a little succulent that has a bright orange flower that just opens as the sun comes up, and then as the sun starts going down, it just closes. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that what we should be doing to God? As his word comes into our heart, we open up and go, "Oh, this is pretty good stuff." And then we when we can't see it like we could a while ago, we start just closing down. I want a flower that just stays open all the time. That's what I want to be, right? The heavens declare his glory. The firmament shows his handiwork. Day to day it utters speech, and night into night it reveals knowledge. There's no speech or language where this voice is not heard. God didn't have a language barrier. Nature doesn't have a language barrier. You can see the handiwork of God no matter what language you speak, or even if you can't speak, like Chris, you can still see the handiwork of God, right? It says that he set the tabernacle for the sun, and it rejoices like a strong man to run its race. It's rising from one end of the heaven and its circuit to the other. There's nothing hidden from its heat. You can't stop the sun from coming up. It's because it's not really coming up anyway. We'll stop the earth from rotating, right? It's constantly reminding us that God is there. He's present. He's bigger than we are. He's smarter than we are. He's more creative than we are. And yet he put all of that inside of us because we have the glory of God that nature is singing about in this earthen vessel, in this cracked clay pot, right? It's right here. So when you look around today, if you get a chance to look at this, don't look directly at it for longer than just a couple of seconds. But if you notice the sun in the corner of your eye, just think God put it there, and you can't do anything about it, right? Let nature speak to you. Let God speak to you today. Let God tell you. Don't get off on some weird religion over there, right? But let nature remind you how big God is. Even human nature, even as you interact with people, remember that God is bigger than our emotions. He's bigger than our situations. He's bigger than the pandemic that is supposed to be behind us. Everybody's still talking about, right? He's bigger than any craziness here on this earth. God is still bigger. Find the biggest thing you want. And I think you can find it. I think the sun is about it, right? We can actually see, maybe, and God's bigger than that. So may the sun shine in your life today. The sun, may the S-O-N sun shine in your heart to give you the knowledge of God and take you from glory to glory in him today. Have a great day, you guys. I went way over. Sorry. Peace out. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.